All right, class. We're going to go into our cupcake portion of our drawing, and you'll notice that this is very, very light. So remember, on light colors, you don't want to have the pencil lines there hardly at all. If you had a neat eraser, you can just run it across there. You can also, using the side, you know how we stroke the, so you don't lose the drawing, you just lighten the lines. So here we go. Also, when I drew mine so that I could get more details and be able to see, you know, the individual little crinkles in the cupcake cup, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 little bumps. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the outer side. So you'll notice that I don't have as many as this piece has. Now, when I printed this picture off as well, I apparently started running out of yellow color. In the reference photo that I sent you, there is no purple here, and there's no purple in the shadow. I want you to look at your reference photo and go by the colors that you see there, those browns that you see there, and it's going to be this kind of reddish browns and stuff. So we're going to change that up a little bit from the reference photo that I have here, and so you follow the reference photo that you have. Okay. I chose a light, which is cream, and a medium, and I grabbed two of them. Just I probably won't be using both of them, but one of them is jasmine, the other one's sand. But you can lay them down on top of your picture and see that you can see those colors in the cupcake part, and that the sand is at the bottom of the actual cup, the cakey part itself, into these parts. So if you only have one of those, you're going to do absolutely fine. The white is for these little highlights here and to burnish in the top parts right here. Now the rest of this is probably not going to be burnished a whole lot because it's very textural and you want the texture of it to come through. And so this is going to be kind of the redder tone, but it's going to go underneath this golden yellow tone. And then this strange greenish tone that's cast from the shadows. I found this color, I'm not sure anybody, if everybody's going to have it, but it's called bronze. And I'm going to use it up underneath the edges and then down on the shadowed side, but not on the highlight side. Okay, just FYI where I'm headed with the pattern for this piece. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. Now, if you want to, you can burnish in or kind of add in the white right in these areas. See the white flecks in here and in here? You can go ahead and add those onto the cupcake itself, just so that there is a little something on the paper, because you're going to be pressing very lightly with your sand color. Whoops, sand. And that line is still too dark for me. For a light color, you want your lines to be super, super light, right? Can't stress that enough. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my sand, which is the next color. Oh, hit pencil. Don't you hate that? It is what it is. So I'm going to add my sand, kind of skipping over that white space, coming into these little cupcake sections from the cup itself. And this is just the first layer, and now I'm going to take sand onto about right here, but I don't want to get too much sand past that point because sand has white in it, and so it's going to kind of change up the color of our cupcakes. This side is very much in shadow. Y'all see that? So I'm going to switch over to one of my two gold colors, and I kind of like the orangier one for the bottom half of the cupcake as it goes into the little cup. And we're just going to you're going to look at your reference photo and make the marks only where you see this more orangey color, and it's, you know, definitely back in here. So we're going to go ahead and put that color in back here, bringing it up to the cream. There are no highlights back here in this section of the cake itself. So the shadowed color, and it's the shadow of the icing onto the cake itself. We can start adding those in, and this is that bronzy color. It's kind of a goldeny brown, so if you have golden ochre, that's going to work well. If you have what was the other ochre? It's kind of a tanny, warm color, cinnamony kind of color for that would look really good too. It's kind of it's not sienna, but it's kind of this darker brown. Now I am going to switch over to my dark brown color. That's chocolate. I thought I got dark brown. Oh yes, I did. I'll show you the difference here on the paper. This is the chocolate. Oh, excuse me, that's the dark brown. This is the chocolate, and see how warm this is? And this is a very cool color here. See how this warm color is kind of a reddish tone? Probably would have gone well into the cupcake part, icing part, excuse me, but it's not going to be best for the shadowy parts. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to just outline somewhat the icing top, creating this really close shadow onto the cupcake itself, and blend it out into that bronzy space. Now it's also right here, this is really dark and this is really dark, so we're going to come in and put that onto that cream color that we had down, so it doesn't show as, like, you know, just absolute black. So it gives me that shadowed look without having to create an absolute black. But if you only have black, check this out. It looks awesome. So you can put your black in there and put your black on top. So it would look like this. You know, me in black. So that would be absolutely fine as well. And it's going to be harsher on this side because the light is hitting this, and then this shadow over here isn't as dark as this shadow is. So just FYI. Get rid of that black. I'm done with the brown. And now I'm going to add in just some little bits of this orangey color. Oops. Where this yellowish cupcake comes down to the bottom, and it starts here, and then it stops for a little ways, and then it starts here and goes all the way back, all along this little edge of the cupcake, going into the little cupcake holder, the little paper part that you peel off. Ooh, hit that. Pencil. Kind of sad. Try not to do that, but it is what it is. Hope every time I lift my arm it's not going in and out of focus for you guys. You're just building up your layers. Bringing in, right in here is the lightest part. So let's get that shadow part blended in. This is so tiny. I'm going to make that shadow just a little more intense, adding a second layer of the bronzy color and burnishing it into that golden color. Get a little bit of that in there. And I'm going to leave that for now. I actually think it should be a little more cream than just the white of the paper. I know I put the white pencil down there, but I've changed my mind. All right, so here we go. There's your cupcake. All right, let's start in on our cupcake wrapper. And I'm going to start with the lightest color and build my way darker. So the lightest colors that you see are usually towards the top, right here in the little parts, and then somewhat towards the bottom. And so I'm just going to fill that in. Kind of using it somewhat from the side at like a 45-degree angle. You can actually hold it like this if you'd rather, in order to fill this in largely. So here we go. There's the first layer of your cupcake wrapper. Then we're going to come in with the yellow color, and it is in between and then going up towards the edge of each one of these little divots. And we could go ahead and put the dark in and then put the light on top, because this is the color here that we're going for. So on this little curved part, it is more towards the outside. And the oranges and stuff are going to be like just kind of a tiny little bit of detail to give that paper wrapper a little bit of a texture. So we can go ahead and come in with, whoops, missed one. Now this bottom part is going to have the dark right next to it, and then it's going to blend softly into here. So we're going to skip over a little white area and then softly put that in. So we're going to skip over and softly put that in. Skip over this little line. Hopefully you can see my pencil lines there a little bit. I did lighten them pretty much because it's so light. Should have chose a chocolate cake. In the comments, you're going to have to tell me which is your favorite kind of cupcake. I know Miss Turner asked everybody what their favorite bundt cake was. And there was a lot of lemon, a lot of people saying things like red velvet and whatnot. So you have to tell me what your favorite cupcake color is going to be. All right, let's go in and add in some of our oranges. Now these are just little bits to I'm putting that up into the cake a little bit too. It's right on that edge. Whoops. Nothing like the table moving. Make sure you keep your pencils sharp, because that's just going to help it to be able to get those details in. So I'm going to give my pencils a good sharpening, and come back, because I really need this one to be sharpened. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to come into the little spaces in between the little ridges of the cup itself, and I'm going to add this bronzy color into it, because this color goes really well with that. So if you don't have bronze, then you just use the brown that's closest to what you have, or you may have to do like a double color. Not a very dark color, but it's a good subtle color. Whoops. As all my pencils roll away. There we go. I think I skipped over one. But it still looks like a cupcake. Whoops. Went into the highlight of that one, but let's blend it down. Whoops. Oh, so sad. Go and sharpen and then touch the edges. And this is the one that's missing, so we're just going to have to put it back in there. Okay. Now we have our little cup. I'm going to go back in and strengthen up some of these oranges. And this thing is just kind of in my way. Okay. So the bottom of the cupcake is very orange on this side, so we're just going to give it a little bit more than what I had. Go into these little cups areas, a little bit of orange, blend it up. I'm not pressing very hard at all, and if you ever want to go back and push that color back into the bottom, well darn, just kind of burnish next to it with the lighter color, and you get that roundedness back for your cupcake itself. So let's get some of these oranges back in on that brighter side, especially. And I'm going to fling up from the bottom on this side. I'll use that bronzy color to kind of fling up from the other side. But the bottom is, the highlight doesn't seem to go like all the way to the bottom on every one of them, just a few. So, and the bottom is not perfectly flat. Notice how it goes in and out and in and out, just like with the ins and outs of the cupcake. Can't wait to see how y'all do yours. I should allow y'all to do them different colors if you wanted, like red velvet. Wouldn't that be pretty? You know, like red velvet cake. And of course, chocolate. All right, get our shadow side going. More into shadow. I think there is a little more of those reddish tones underneath this bronze than what I originally put, so I'm just very lightly rubbing some of that orange back into it just to bring it back to a little more warm color than that bronze is almost like a army green tone, so I don't want it to look unappetizing. So I'm going to take my yellow color, take that bronze down a little bit on the on the highlight side, so that it looks, and I am pushing now, doing a little bit of burnishing. You can see my hand kind of tightening up, and there we go. All right, we're going to do our shadow. I want to go back to my brown color that I had, the chocolate. Is it the chocolate? Or, yeah, it's the chocolate. Okay, I'm going to put in my cast shadow, and I want to show you real quickly. Let me pull that up. Oh my goodness, where is it? You know what? I'll just search. Cupcake. Boom. So that you can see this cupcake shadow compared to what's on here. See how this is definitely a warm brown, and inside here is a little bit of the yellow tone, and then it's just blended out, burnished out. So we're going to go with that one, and I'm going to put in the lighter tones. So I don't want this line to actually show, because I just kind of want to know where to stop the shadow. And but you don't want to have a harsh line on a soft shadow. So we're going to come in with some of that golden color first. That's going to help blend out. The shadow comes like right up underneath here, like that. And then you're going to take the chocolate brown, and it goes like pretty dark. And this is up underneath the little cupcake, right as it sits straight way down on the table. And you'll notice it goes 3/4 of the way around. So from here over, you can see shadow, but you don't see shadow in the front. So only start at about, 1/3 and then go 2/3 of the way around. So we're going to start it in about right there. And then I'm putting pressure to make it harder as I go around these little bumps. So it's just very, very light. I don't know what that is. Oh, whatever. Going up the side of the piece here. So you want it to come down and fade out. So I'm just barely touching the paper at this point. So I have that shadow color without having, like, you know, really dark shadow. Doing a light wash over our cupcake shadow. It's so tempting to just put all your shadows in as black or something, but they're really not. They bounce the light of whatever they are. So even if you look really closely to something that is, you know, a brighter color, I don't know if you can see, but there is actually different colors within the shadow, and one of the colors in the shadow is the color of the object. So that's why we wanted to put that in there. At this point, you're just going back and reinforcing any of your darks. And I'm going to put a little bit more orange on this darker side. Just covering up some of that bronzy color. And giving that, really reinforcing that this is the shadow side of the cupcake. All right. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed doing our cupcake project. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with. Y'all have a great day.